I'm Keith Kelly. I teach middle school integrated technology, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. It's like integrated industrial arts we had, but updated. My fifth graders build cars and boats, do teamwork. Sixth graders do Legos and coding, do skateboards and production and woodworking. Grade do 3D printing, prototyping, design, and 3D modeling. And I also build electric guitars with eighth graders in a club and do some teacher building, things of that nature. All my stuff, I've been the state. I'm a teacher leader for the state, and that I'm on the STEAM focus. So I've been doing different areas. The state, if you go to steammakers.education, or you go to the state DOE to the teacher leader section, it will bring you to this. This has all the everything I've done to this point, my curriculum, newsletter, some resources. So like if you click on it, I've tried to put in some grants, like the DOE's grant that's coming up, the Harbor Freight getting a couple $100, Ag in the Class, this contest that I put there. Things of that nature that you can look through. That's very helpful, I find. I keep adding to it. Newsletter you can sign up for, and it's basically a generic newsletter about each one. I try to label like, oh, this is on coding, this is on 3D modeling. Curriculum, I'm working my way through this and keep adding sections. So I've created a curriculum from fourth all the way up to lifelong, but fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth is something I focused on. Next month, I'm going to do some fourth grade younger stuff. And then my last one that I'm doing, because we're done this in June, Kern and I will be focusing more on what do you do with 9th and 10th and 11th and 12th. And then down below, if you go through, it's like these are the different sections of what I've done. And that's how I've done my PD so far, because I've done one per month for quite a while. So if you click here, if you want to see all the videos, you can click on this link and it brings you to the YouTube channel. And here's everything that I've done so far. There's two parts of what I do. There is the kind of overarching what I do in my program, and then I have some tools. Today is a tool-based one. I found that, like, I've done one on video. This one's more on class management. But if you click on, teamwork, this is what I do in fifth grade. This shows you what we do. There's a video of me going over how I implement this in fifth grade. There's a slideshow. And then here's the tool. This is the classroom, Google Classroom Forms I did last time. And this links to slideshow, and this links to a video on kind of how I use Classroom and Forms. I did find last time, like I didn't have enough time, so I'm going to do more forms and spreadsheets, kind of get into that, because it's a tool that I use all the time. If we scroll down, and this is where this one I'll record this and I will put this there. Then there's the section on coding. And you can go through, and this is all coding. And again, there's links to videos. This was the coding tools I use, Scratch and Tinkercad, Lego robotic coding. This one's my skateboard one, learning from failure. And it's all around making the skateboards. I also did some how I use video tools to capture the work. And the last one so far I've done is 3D modeling. And this is eighth grade. And in here is the videos on how to do it, and then also the tools on 3D software that I use. Today, I'm going to focus on forms, and I'm going to focus on Google Sheets. So a little bit of both, because I use forms in my classroom. One thing I wish I could give you more time. That's the most valuable thing. So when I do sheets, when you do a form, you can go in Google Classroom, or just a form. You can say, I'm going to make a form, and you can give it a question. You can either do multiple choice, you can do short answer, you can do a checklist, you can do a time. What's cool is this collects your data for you. So you don't have to go search for the kids. The data comes to you. You can also make it automatically correct for you. So if it does that, then what that means is I only have to correct the stuff that, like the longer essays or the more specific things I need to look at. So I get the check-in stuff, the formative, and my summative is stuff where I can lean into. Now, there's tons of different choices. I'm going to go over this. This is pretty full, but I'm just showing this. And we're going to go through it, like how you can add images and pictures, and I'm going to do this, and layout, and you can make it colorful, all this. So this is all adding Google Forms. So let me go and make one. If you say forms.new, and you type it, Google will give you a brand new form. You can also, if you're in your classroom, so I'm going into classroom, and you're in one of your classes, So I'm in my MLT. So here's a practice class I have. If you're in classwork and you say create, you can say quiz assignment, which will open a Google form automatically to create a blank form for you to edit. This, because it's import, this will import your answers right in. You can still give it a due date, a category, what type it is, what topic, all of that in Classroom. And that video was last what I did. But if we click this and we open it up, we get a blank. So we get a blank on the form and we can give it a title. And down here, this is where you can pick, oh, I want a checkbox. So the kids will literally check off what the multiple answers, or I want a drop down list, pull from this list, pick the choice. I want a multiple choice. You can even have multiple grid checkbox. I have kids file upload all the time to give me like their 3D model files. So when I want to collect that or a screen capture, this is how we do it. You can do short answer and long answer. And then what's cool is you can require the question or not. And you can actually have things go to sections. So you can add pictures, things like that. You can actually have it go to sections by their answer. So you can have a question and say, oh, continue to next section, or you can say, if this answer, go to this next. So you can really kind of make this, it's pretty cool what you can do. So for example, I'll show you one of mine, just a second here. So I have quizzes on my drill press. So this is a place where I have the kids hand in their stuff. This is just files. So this is how they collect files. So I'm going to preview it so you can see. This is what it looks like the kids do it. They go and add a file and that comes to me. Pretty simple, per se. Now, in here, I can say, where those responses go. This is where I talk about sheets, because view sheets. This is where those answers go. So these are the files of the kids that come to me. And as the file's there, I can just click and look and download it. And I have the file. I didn't have to chase this. I didn't have to go get it, anything like that. And I can go in settings and decide, oh, you can only get one chance to hand it in. You can get multiple. You can limit response. You can say only my kids in my district can get to it. So you have a lot of power per se in doing that. Now, my 6th, 7th graders. So for example, here's the hand sander label quiz. And if you click and open it, it's a Google form. And I'll show you what the kids see. This is what they see. They fill the answer. And it's notice it starts, so they have to, it's a required question. They have to put it in. They pick their class, what day they have. Then they go down and say, oh, number 1 is pointing at a sanding pad. Number 2 is pointing. And this, you can see the points. I have it set to automatically correct. And when they hit submit, it will tell them whether they pass or fail. So this is me looking behind it. You can see I've gone in and said, oh, here's the choice of answers, and that answer key. And I said, that's the right answer. And this is the point. The kid, when they pass or fail, when they get their response, it will say whether you pass or fail, and they can retake it if I let them. If I go in settings, I can say, oh, they can take more than one more time. I can limit it. So I have a lot of control with this Google spreadsheet that I have. I use this to automate this stuff, so I don't have to go and correct. I do have a few things in this that, like, there's some with my type of program, there's some things that you have to do it this way. For example, the question quiz, I have videos. So I'm clicking on this one. This one, I have videos that the kids watch. Well, the only way for me to know they don't know how that kid's doing that tool, like the machine's still on and they walk away from the tool, is to have a video. So this is the same thing. They come through, but they're going to say, oh, in the manual, it says always wear safety glasses, number 8. Oh, she's not wearing safety glasses. They watch this video. The only caveat is when you get to the bottom, you'll see there's some answers are typed answers. Those are what I automatically correct. I go hand correct. Everything else is automated. My quizzes are like drivers that they can take over many times. So that's why you would do a form. That's why forms are very, very helpful. And if you type forms.new, you'll get a new one. I use them in my classroom. I just say create a quiz, and then here it is. And again, the choices are ton. Multiple choice, check. You decide what you want in that answer. That's the form. So that's Google Forms. Now, there are some specialty things. So, for example, you can have, so say you're doing parent signups. So here's a form, a new one, and parent conferences. And you know, you have parents sign up for time. So you can say your name and you could have the parents type in their name, or if you could copy and paste names in too. So if I do Dropbox, I can paste the kids' names in this and the parents would pick from them if I want. If I want them to type their own thing, I can hit short answer. I can say, you know, you have to tell me that. I can duplicate, or I can say plus, and I'm going to add another question. This one I'm going to do, it's going to be time. I'm going to say, you know, do you want to meet at 7? Do you want to meet at 8? Do you want to meet at 9? So when we have parent conferences, you know, like an all-day conference, not, you know, 7 in the morning or whatever, so the parents can pick their time. The problem is so if a parent picks it at 9 and someone else, you only have one slot, how do you, so there is this thing called choice eliminator. So I can go here and there's add-ons and I can choice eliminator and I've added this on and I can configure it. And what's cool is on the side, I can go and say, every time somebody goes and picks one of these choices, remove it from the choice from everybody else from that point on. So you can see I could say, you know, how many times can people pick this time? I could say 2 or 1, or I can come down here and say, you know what? Everybody can only pick, all these choices get one chance. Okay. And then I can apply that. Now it's giving me an error. It's saying, hey, you have your form. It's under responses. You have settings. Sorry, you have your form set to only people from RSU 19 can enter. So I'm going to turn that off so anybody out there can do it. So now when I go back to questions here, so now I'm going to hit apply, and down here I can say, oh, you get an email. They have to sign in. They only can do it once. When a choice is gone, it eliminates. So if someone picks 8 o'clock, it eliminates it. You can send a message to them. You can have a message, you know, oh, if you didn't get your time, or thank you, we'll see you there. Come with your student. Please bring your student with you. I can put a message. I can even have a QR code. If I hit save, what's really cool now is I now have a Google form that I can send to parents for picking a time. And as they pick, it eliminates the times that they pick. Again, a form to be useful to you, not just, you know, that's the whole point of what I'm showing. That's why I showed you Classroom. That's why I showed you this stuff is useful for me to collecting information. I don't chase kids down. Also, it helps you with, oh, you lost my homework. Oh, you did lot. No, it's all here. I only see kids every 3 days. So if I have a kid, oh, Mr. Kelly, I'm missing a manual. Mr. Kelly, I'm missing. I put it all in my classroom so that they always have access to it. They can't say they don't. Also, I video myself and I put it in my classroom so that, oh, it's there. So it will save. And what will happen is a form that it eliminates the choices as you go. That's just a side note. I just wanted to show you that with the form. Now, when you do a form, the stuff goes somewhere. The stuff goes to a spreadsheet or wherever. So when you have responses, you link it to sheets. You say, where do you want it to go? You can select one that exists, or you can say, I want this to go somewhere else. So when I have my forms, I have it go to my sheets, and I can literally just go click one sheet and all my data is there. Everything's there. I don't have to chase it down. I don't have to go and like try to figure out where it's located. I'm going to switch my my screen share just a second. All right. So I just wanted you to understand with the forms. So I made a blank quiz or I make a test. It's pretty helpful that it's collecting my data for me. You can start simple, just collecting student name, collecting students' work, and then you can go say, oh, I want to ask a few questions. I'll use this sometime as a exit slip, entry slip. You know, here's a question, answer it. If we look, So you can see when you make a quiz, if I exit out, you can see I can have quizzes, homeworks. Let me just go here. So that's forms. That stuff goes out to a place. So now let's talk about sheets. Sheets is where the data goes to. Okay. So spreadsheets, forms, you send them out. They connect them to your Gmail and Google account. And I kind of talked to you about a Google form already. Then all that data goes to a sheet. So here is a sheet that data will go to. So if I click, I'm going to show you, this is where data would dump from. So when I do my testing and stuff, all of it dumps to a certain spot. And again, it will tell me pass. The cool thing is when I'm in Classroom, I can import the grade so I don't have to redo it. But here's a sheet. I just want to show you. I use this sheet. I use my sheet for a couple of different things. So again, same thing. I can go over here and just say sheet new, sheets.new, and Google will give me a Google spreadsheet. This Google spreadsheets are basically columns. Think of it as Battleship. You have rows and columns. Your columns are A to infinity letters. So at A to Z, A, B, A, Z, Z, it goes forever that way. Rows go down infinity down to here. Usually when you open a new spreadsheet, it gives you 1,000 slots. Each one of these are cells. This is like Battleship. D6, if you are D5, that cell is D5. Okay. This gives you the ability to do some basic sorting and things of that nature, right? So I just need some data so you can see. So I have this data, right? I'm just going to grab it and put it in the blank sheet for a second so you can see. So I have it over here. I dump it in here, and here's the names. Okay. There's a couple problems. Okay. The more you can sort your data, the better off you are. So you can see I have the Amanda Taylor. I can't sort by first name. I can't sort just by last name. The more when you collect the data, you want to have it come in different columns separated out. Now I can click here and say, you know what? I want Z to A. So I've clicked this little button here and I want it. It's opposite alphabetical. Here I can go alphabetical. One of the problems that happens is if I start manipulating, so I can go to find, Control F. So I can go find and say, I want to see all the Amandas. And you can see it turns blue, right? And it jumps to those. So you can use that. One of the problems that happens when you start sorting is this stuff like, I want to, okay, wait a minute here. This is wrong. I'm going to move it down one. I need to know that this is first name or name. I need this first column to be name. I can even bold it. I can make it like different colors so it stands out on its own. The problem is if I go sort it right now and I go sort A to Z or Z to A, the word name gets in the middle because it doesn't know. It's like, hey, well, that's just that's something in the cell. So if you want to lock that, you click on it and you go view and you go freeze and you pick. So this is one row. You'll now see it kind of has a little gray line underneath it. And if I go like this and say A to Z, or I switch it to Z to A, you'll see that locks in place. That's just a logistic thing. So that's kind of helpful for you. Okay. So, and you can see and then I can have grade. So this is locked down in place. Now I can start putting teachers' names, what grade they are, what their locker number. I can start having helpful information there in that. So what I want to show you, what I end up using it for is one, I have like a plan book. So this is my plan book. I just made a spreadsheet and I just have this stuff here. All that is just a spreadsheet, just a column, but grayed out. And I have my time. So I just have cells with my time. What's cool is I go and make this. We have a A, B, C, D schedule, but I go in, you just make this once and then you can duplicate this as many times as you want. And then I just put the new date in And then I just keep adding it's my grade book. So I've gone and done this once. Now, again, you can do things like click, you can change the cell color, you can change the font color beside it. You can kind of see these have this cell is a block all the way around it. I just do this because I'll go back so you can see. So there's I made a copy. So this is my week next week. So it shows me, okay, what I'm doing for each class. I can copy and paste it. I know what class number I'm on. I got other activities going on that I can see. But it helps me with my plan book. And again, I've made this once. Now I've made this. Next year, I just update the times and a little bit, and I just keep rinsing and repeating. That's why I use this. I use this as my plan book. I find it's very helpful for me to visually and also like keep track of what's coming up. And what will happen is as I go, let's see, I'll be able to, I have an early release day. So I know, be careful of that. I know when my last day of school is, when my staff days are. What does it do to my schedule? I had a class not here the other day, so I could shift stuff knowing what there. I can say, I have a little bit extra time. I have only 20 classes, and with end of the year stuff, I have to really be, ahead of time knowing what I'm doing. But you can use a simple spreadsheet just for sorting. That's what all this is. I just go in and now once I've made one template, I just reuse it over and over again. And I just go in and change the date. I can duplicate this right now. I can just click and say duplicate. I can even protect. I can lock it so no one can mess with it. And then I can just change and copy. And I find this very helpful. That's just the thing. Now, I also use it for my attendance. Now, we have a Infinite Campus, but Infinite Campus has stuff in it too. But I just find this is I just keep a daily attendance. Same thing. This is just a spreadsheet. This is just stuff, check box, insert, stuff like that nature. But I have to have a seating chart and attendance. So that's what this is for. This is for a sub. Once I've made this, again, same thing. I don't reinvent this. I just go and put the new kids' names in and put them in their slots. This is just a wholesale clearinghouse for information for me. I'm not manipulating or doing anything with it. The reason I bring this up because I'm going to show you this I use, and if you want a copy, I can give this to you. What happens? We have to make a schedule. So this is a schedule for our team for the kids. Where are they going? I could individually copy and paste and make it just like I do my plan book, but I'm only doing 20 times that, so I don't mind doing that. But if you're doing 100 schedules, that would get really kind of crazy. So using the spreadsheet, what I do is I have a master list. This is locked. I put their names in, and then I put what this kid has for their schedule here. So you can say, they have period 1 science, period 2 social studies. This is copy and paste. So I copy. Once I've done this to those kids, the cool thing is at the beginning of the year, we've done the sorting. Then I can go here and I can just load the kid. So I can pick a different kid. So here's me, see how it changed? And what that lets me do is if, during the year you have kids switch and all that, instead of physically going into an individual schedule, all I do is go to the master and change the one thing. So you can see right now it has my name and it's saying period 1, I have language arts with Mrs. White. If I go back to the master schedule and you'll see there I am, and it's saying period 1, language arts, Mr. White, I could say, no, going to have Mrs. White for math, period 1, and going to have her for language arts, period 7. So I'm changing it on the master schedule. If I go here, I just load another kid, load my name, and you'll see that got changed. So, and then I can just say print. So I'm not having to, all I have to do is change that master schedule and everything else gets changed for me. And how that's working, there's a little trick with it, is I have a master and all of this is literally just a column, a column. But on this spreadsheet, the master spreadsheet, it's Battleship. B2 is period 1. So if you go to the schedule and you see what I've done to the schedule, if you click on this, it's actually, you see this, I've used a little formula to do stuff. And that's built into spreadsheet. Now I could spend a month going over all the different formulas. But if we look at this formula, all this says filter using the master sheet, then use B2 to B, right? And then master A2 to A. So what it's doing is it's saying, look, go to this column A, then go over here to the B and pick whatever is in B. Then if we go back to the schedule and we go to the next one, this one says, oh, okay, this says whatever's on C. And what's cool is once you have this, like I can just take this and copy it. You can see I'm just copying the filter. And if I pick another slot, in this case, so I put it over here, but if I pick another slot and I paste it, you'll see, oh, it's pulling the data from the same spot. If you can see this is just changed. So this way is the same. This is the same thing, is always going to be the same thing all the way through, right? This is C, this is K column. So what happens is the schedule is automatic fill by just taking that formula and filling it in. That is just a helpful thing that I use because we always have to do schedules and now there are programs out there that do schedules and stuff like that. But I just wanted to show spreadsheets a little bit because of this, because it collects your data. So it's just, you can make simple plan books out of it. You can have your spreadsheet, your schedules. You can do attendance and stuff like that. We have an infinite campus. We have school has a program for that too. But you can get as fancy as you want. To help you understand a couple things you can do with spreadsheets too is you can validate responses. You can say, okay, when someone picks something, do something. So this little Pixar thing, pixel, if you can see, I have C through Z, right? And you can say, again, this is Battleship. So this is H5. If I click on a cell, I can go under format, and I can say conditional formatting. So what I can go here is you can see if you use 1, 2, 3, 4, any of these numbers, that cell is going to fill in from A1 to Z. It's going to fill in with that color. So watch. If I say 1, it turned black. If I say 2, it turned that berry color. 3, red. 4, orange. So you can see I've conditionally formatted. So whatever color I put in, you can see there's no 0. All this is saying whatever's in that cell, I can add a rule. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to copy this A1 to Z22. So A to Z22. So this whole table. If I go to here and I say, you know what? I'm going to add another rule, and I'm going to say the same thing anywhere from there. If it has exactly, if the text is, let's see, 12, because I haven't used the number 12 yet, I can say, what does I want it to fill in? I can pick a different color that we haven't used yet. So we haven't used these light blue yet. So I'm going to say, or I can pick a different, I can pick a different color, this peach color, this pink color. And I say done. Now, if I type in the number 12, you'll see I've added that peach color. Now, I will point out, you see the number 12 where these you don't. When you type a 7, you don't see the number 7. And the only reason that is somebody here has said, oh, we want it to be the same. The text wants to be the same color as this. So when I hit done, you'll see it disappears. Why would you care about this? Well, this would let me highlight if something was wrong. So here I could say, if it's has an L in it, so I can say conditional formatting. I can say conditional formatting. I can say if if that cell is exactly an L, then I could make it turn red. So now, and anytime kids were late, it would pop up red. Or so I can manipulate using this table to say, oh, pop up issues that pop up. And again, that's all this little pixel sheet kind of gives you that concept. I use this with my kids to teach them the X and the Y. And I also use this to teach them colors. And I also use it to teach cells and conditional formatting and how you can manipulate. But I'm just kind of showing this to you so you can kind of understand. The spreadsheet, the value of it is it's collecting your data. It's bringing it in. So I can kind of show you some of these spreadsheets, okay? So, yeah, there we go. So if I go here and I go to my classroom and I'm in one of my classes and I go in here and I say, okay, so 7th grade, I go in here and I say, oh, okay, let's look at their drill press. So here's the manual. This is classroom. This is just a file for them to work. This is if they want to hand in, there's a Google form. So if they want to hand their work shortened, I can just click it and they'll hit it. This is the quizzes. So if I say question quiz and I click the Google form, this is what I've done. I made a question quiz and the kids, they give me their name, they give me their period. And then I say, what's he doing wrong? And in the manual, it says pick 1 through 27. Now, when you look at the classwork, the manuals are like this for me. So if I click a manual and I open it up, I've gone over this with the kid, but one says wear safety glasses. So each one, so they have to realize reading the manual, and we label the tool and stuff. They have to say, okay, what's he doing wrong? So they look at the picture and say, oh, he's not wearing safety glasses. That's number 1. I've gone in. If you click on this, see the answer key. I've said number 1 is the answer. It's 30 points. It's a pretty serious one. If they don't know that they need safety glasses, I have to kind of fail. Now, they can retake this. This is like drivers that I want them to just show me they can figure this out. I've set this up. So now when I hit done, this is what the kids see. So they go in and they put their name in and stuff. They see this. They say, what is he doing wrong? Oh, 1, he's not wearing safety glasses. And they work their way through. When they submit it, so I can go in and pick different things. Some I'll get right. Some I'm just going to randomly pick some answers just so I can have something. Okay. My stuff is open notes, so they might have a notes beside them while they're doing this. Because it's like you have the right to have a manual in the real world. They don't hide the. So I've filled these in. If I hit submit, if I leave one empty, it will make me fill it in. Oh, so you can see it. It said, look, you have to give me your. So I'm going to say test. I'm going to pick one of my classes. Now, if I come to the bottom here and I hit submit, so this is a Google form I've made. Now you can say the kids view your score and they can see, oh, I got 30 out of 100. Okay, so I didn't pass. It will tell them what they got right. It will tell them what they got wrong. Now you can decide, you can show the right answer or you can say no, and they can do this. And then you can decide, do I want to let them, if you click on this, you can see edit your response. You can let them edit it and fix it or not. Now my stuff is open notes, so I let them edit and fix it. And again, in the setup of this, when I'm in the questions and I open this up, you'll see under responses, under settings, I've gone and said, look, this is a quiz. So I'll be able to import it into my grade book. I could say later I correct it, or after I can tell them they passed or failed. Lock mode is kind of cool because you can lock this so that when they start the quiz on Chromebooks, they can't go anywhere else. You can see I have it. I showed them missed questions. I didn't show them the right answers. I could say, yeah, they get to see what was the correct answer that they got wrong. I purposely do this because I want them to try to figure it out. I can show them point values. I can make default. This is, I can say, I they have to use school emails to do this. I let them edit their response. You could say no. You could limit one response. If you're going to make it a quiz, it has to be one response, but you could have them be able to come back and forth. You could let people outside of it. You can show progress. You can shuffle the questions. You can have a confirmation at the end. They can get a summary. You can I collect their emails, so I have it. And you can make questions required by default when you make the form. That's the basic, this was me going over. You can see I went over this as I made this. So if I click on it, this is a multiple choice. This is a drop down. So I made, and I put my answers there. There's no points because this is just collecting information. It is required, so I know what class they're in. And I'll show you why. Because when you look at the spreadsheet, it's helpful to have that. This question, if we go down, is required. By the way, once you get this 1 through 30, I just duplicate this question and I change the picture and what the thing is. Because you can click here and you can say, when you're down to here, you can say duplicate. So you don't have to redo this every time. And you give it an answer. That's the basic Google form. The responses, so if I link to Sheets, so I'm just going to create one. This is the sheet, this is where that answers went to. So it shows me what number they got, what did they do, how did they do, what their grade was, all of that. You can see that's the one I just did, what period, all it actually timestamps too. So there's their person, you could have a question with their name they put into, but I've had it collect their email, so they can't get into it without it. But what's cool is now in my classroom as a teacher, if I go to grades and I click on the drill press label quiz or whatever quiz I'm doing, I say import, it brings it automatically in and it will tell me their grade, and I can say okay or not. If they don't pass they haven't passed yet, it can do it again. So I can go in and I can click on an assignment, I can import it in, and it will import in and it will tell me, it will put the grade right in. Now this one I have to check, but it will put what they got for a grade in there. This is just helpful. So Google Classroom is where my clearinghouse of where my work is, because when you can create an assignment, a question, whatever. So say you say materials, or say you say quiz, create a quiz assignment. The cool thing is when I make this form, I click on this and edit it, I can go over here and say, oh, this goes to every one of my 7th grade classes. So you can see I've only had to do this assignment once. I can put links to stuff in it if I want. I can get a due date. I can say what topic it goes to. Oh, this is all talking about the drill press. I can go and say what trimester, and I can actually even schedule it. So what I can say is, oh, it only shows up on their Google Classroom at a certain time. I find this very helpful. So I don't have to redo this 6 times. I only have to do it once and the kids get to use it. The spreadsheet, the form, they take the quiz, the spreadsheet, all their answers come to me, and it's connected to each class. And again, when you hit create, there's if you have a material, you can say my manuals or materials. I can even reuse posts. I can click and go grab something that I already used from last year, and grab it and say, oh, chop saw question quiz. I'm going to reuse this one. So I'm not reinventing the wheel. I can click on it. I can say, I can edit it. So now there's a quiz, my chop saw quiz. I can go and say what kids get it. I can schedule it when I want it to show up to them. I can give it a category. I mean, I can play around with tons of stuff on this. And again, this is using Classroom to collect it, forms to give me the kids to give me the answer or the test, and Classroom to grade, and then I link it to our school grading system. As a teacher, you can see it helps me. It gives me some insights, so I can see, oh, kids are getting this question wrong all the time. You can see it frequently will tell me what my question, what this question is missed the most. Well, why? So it helps me validate my stuff. I can also see, okay, so you can see they really get question 11, which is no glasses. Most of them completely get it. They understand, so I can go and say, okay, this one, why is some picking this? What I might have to look, maybe I need to teach that better. Maybe, so that's why forms is very helpful. And that's also why the spreadsheet for collecting it. It's sitting there ready to go. And then what happens is I end up having, let me just pull this higher. I end up having, I have one spreadsheet that has everything in it. So I can just jump between. So that's basics of spreadsheet. And I've kind of done some basic of forms. Now I could get more detail. You can see this one, new form. This one is, there's the question, what you want. You can change it to another question. Here you can click, you can have lines, you can change the type of question, you can add a description. You can now actually add pictures. So I'll have a picture with what the kid's doing wrong. You can now add YouTube videos right into it. You can lead them into another question too. You can duplicate the question once you have it. You can add images. So if I'm on a question, so I can have a question and in there I can have a picture that goes with it and they can look at the picture and say, which one is this? It's very helpful if you're teaching for STEM, you're teaching hands-on stuff. You can label your form. You can do layouts you can look at what it's going to look like. You can give the kids a link. You can share, we can collaborate. Other people can have access. If you want some of my stuff, you're like, I like that schedule. I have teams that took my spreadsheet, took this right here. Where is it? Took this right here. All they did was change their names and put their teachers' names where they're supposed to. And it automatically loads this. So I shared this, I go share, and you can say, I want someone to be an editor. They can copy. I will give you a little heads up. If you're sharing this, I've had a problem with my team. If my team goes in, if you mess with the master schedule, it's going to show up. If I say, hello, I go right now and type this in, and I've changed that class. If I go to that schedule and I change off my name, I pick a different kid, and then I come back to my name, you'll see I changed the master schedule. Now it says hello. Also, I'll have teachers that will do this. That's why a lot of times you'll go here and you'll lock the sheet, protect the sheet, so that only certain people can edit it. So if you hit protect, nobody I can set who can mess with the sheet. Why would that be? Well, I've had teachers do this. So I gave them access to this. They went in, and instead of changing the master schedule to who that teacher was, they went to this schedule sheet and said, that kid has this period. That kid and started changing everything. Well, notice the difference. They're getting rid of the code that gets the information, and they're making it. So what happens, the sheets becomes a one schedule sheet for one kid. So that now, luckily, the good thing with all Google stuff is you can always go to a version history and see version history and restore it. So I could literally go and say, she started editing here. So I can click here and then say, restore to this version. And now you'll see it's gone back to before. What I usually do is I give them access as viewers, but I don't give them access to change, or, I give a few to there. But the cool thing is I can share, if you wanted this, I could share this with you, and literally you could delete everything but what you want. As long as you don't delete this sheet and this sheet, they're connected. You can go, and then you can put your name, your period. Notice too, if you go to this schedule, if I change this time at the beginning of next year, we might change our times. I just changed these times. This is stationary. This stuff is stationary. This is active. So if I change this, that changes for every kid as I pick their names and I switch and I pick to a different kid. This stays the same, but I can. So if next year we're like, oh, we don't have a bathroom, I can change, or this changes time, I can switch to this part, leaving the rest just where it is. Then what's cool is we know, yeah, we don't longer have morning meeting now. We don't. So what's really cool is you're just fixing two things. You're making the master list and you're fixing the template of the schedule, and then you don't have to change everything. It's just kind of a cool thing to have. If you want a copy of it, just send me an email. I'll share this. I'll go in and share this with you. I would recommend you just make a copy for yourself, and then you just switch the things. I would make two copies so that if I oh man, I deleted this line, you can do. I do that with teachers all the time. I give them a copy of this, and then I don't have to worry about that. So we've talked about sheets. I'm kind of going over forms. Talked about forms. You can get into colors and fanciness with it. So I can go to one of these forms, and if I want this listing, I choose an image. They have pre-done stuff. So when I'm doing my guitar club, I can do this and have it. I use a lot to collect kids like, oh, when are you meeting? When are you doing? So you can kind of get to the look if you want. Not saying you have to do that, but that's in there. There's tons of themes that are out there. We talked about making it a quiz, and that's usually you do that right in Classroom. And there is the add-on of I've already talked about choice eliminator. So you add that in. So if you're in here, you can add an add-on for Chrome for forms that say choice eliminator, and I've showed that where you can eliminate choices as you go. So how I use it is I use my Classroom for my collecting my information. It's my my filing cabinet where everything is. Then I have specialty things, the forms that collect files, or that's where they give me their quizzes, their questions, their answers. And that stuff automatically corrects being a quiz. And then it all comes to a spreadsheet. And I use the spreadsheet as my plan book and as my scheduler. There are a lot of programs out there that do that specialty. I just have a little bit more freedom by creating a few of my own things. I don't do it for everything. Our attendance, we have an Infinite Campus, and there's our attendances there, and I can do that there. I have it in one spot, but I'm just showing you that's how you can use spreadsheets. Spreadsheets a good set to collect everything. I don't really go into my spreadsheets a lot because my Google Classroom, everything gets collected in there. I can't get through everything. I wish I could. If you have a specific question for me, you can contact me. Same thing about me. I'm here in the website, steammakers.education. This is just a little information. You can get my email linked to me. I'm keith.kelly@maine.gov. All my stuff, this video will be, give me a chance. Give me about a week. I edit it and I'll paste it. I'll put it in this one, and it will be below where the Google Classroom one is. It will be here too as well. And they're all here in the YouTube playlist too.